What's up, you guys? Tech Chucker here, and I've got a review for you of the Deadpool Sasquatch Wave X-23. Now, this is a pretty cool figure. I wasn't super big on this figure to begin with, but I really do kind of want to finish this Build-A-Figure, so obviously I had to have her. So let's go ahead and crack this thing open and take a closer look. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the articulation first on this figure. Starting out, her head is on a ball hinge, and she is able to only look up about this far. The hair really gets in the way of that. She can get her chin all the way down into her chest, which is awesome, and then she is able to look both ways, but the hair does kind of get in the way of that. But not terribly, because the hair does move just a little. She has a lot of tilt in her head, which is awesome. That I love. Unfortunately, her head is a little loose on mine. Moving to the shoulder, she's got ball hinges in the shoulder. She can get her arms all the way up, which is pretty awesome, but the hair does kind of get in the way of that. She does have full rotation of that shoulder. There is no upper bicep swivel, just like most female characters do not. She has a single hinge in the elbow and can get it about just over 90 degrees. There is a peg also at the top of the elbow that allows her to swivel. In the wrists, there is a peg joint and a hinge. She's got good range of motion both ways for that, which is awesome. Moving down into the torso, she's got that standard female torso, the double ball peg. She's not really able to crunch forward much at all, and she's barely able to go backwards, which is hugely disappointing, especially for this character. She is able to swivel at that torso, and not really much of any, well, there's a little bit of side-to-side crunch. There is no waist swivel, which is disappointing. Moving into the hips, she's got T-jointed ball joints in the hips. Not really a big range of motion there. She's able to kick forward, not even 90 degrees, which is also disappointing, and really can't kick back at all unless you start, again, kicking that leg out a little. Even that is still pretty hindered. She does have an upper thigh cut that works good. She has double jointed knees. Mine are pretty loose, which is really disappointing again, but she's able to get that knee 90 degrees, which is great. She has a boot cut, which is a little bit rare for the female characters, so that's kind of nice. And then she has a hinge in the ankle. She's able to get her foot back that far and forward quite a bit. Forward is really good. I'm actually pretty pleased with that. So overall, you know, I expect more for the articulation on these figures. Mine especially has some really loose joints, especially down in the knees. So that's kind of a bummer. All right, moving into the sculpt of this figure, I think, you know, Hasbro did a nice enough job with the face sculpt. Let's go ahead and bring this in a little bit closer. They did a good job with the face. The paint is fairly clean, I would say. Nothing too terrible. I do like that they painted her lips and they painted her teeth, which is great. The hair is definitely a little too stiff for my liking, but you know, it is what it is. Moving into the chest and torso. Again, I think the paint work they did was pretty nice. Could be better, obviously, could be much cleaner. I don't really care for all this extra flashing. Obviously, I'll have to pick some of that out. But, you know, it is what it is. Further down the belt, again, I don't know that I really care for the floating belts, especially if they don't really get in the way of articulation. You could just glue that on and then you would be perfectly fine. I do like that the X is painted on. They missed a little bit of the paint on that X, but you know, it's okay. The claws do come out if you want them to. So you do essentially get fist hands then because of that, but they're just going to have those holes in them where they peg right in. Moving down into the legs, one issue that I have quite a bit is how loose this particular leg is and how kind of soft the plastic is. I'm not a huge fan of the really, really soft plastic. What I am a big fan of is the sculpt and paint that they did on her boots. They painted every single buckle not super well, but they put in the effort and it's sculpted really, really nicely. This side they did much, much better. So I am pretty darn pleased. I also am pretty pleased that the claws of hers are straight. You know, oftentimes they come out of the box pretty darn bent and they don't ever straighten out. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Okay, let's go ahead and see just how tall X-23 is. Now, my understanding, she should be just a hair shorter, and she is just a little bit. She's about 6 3, just shy of 6 3/4 inches tall. So, or 5 3/4, I should say, right? 5 3/4. Yeah, 5 3/4 inches tall. So not a super huge figure, which is kind of what I would expect for this character. And last but not least, accessories. She comes with none, which again, Hasbro, what are you doing? You're killing me, Smalls. We need some more accessories. I mean, yes, it's nice that we can pull those claws out and it essentially is like she's got fists, but how about some open hands? How about an unmasked head? How about any number of things would be super cool to have, and you've given us nothing, which is just a bummer. It makes it harder to throw out the 20 bucks to buy these things. But, you know, I digress. There are some issues with this figure, but I do think that this is a must-have. She's a really, really cool version of this character that I really like. So even though it has a lot of QC issues, it's probably a good one to get for your collection. Alrighty folks, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. What are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. And until next time, I'll see you later.